Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Savva Talks Football on a Tuesday. It's Tuesday afternoon. I'm joined, as always, by Kuva99, just telling me how much he was looking forward to Christmas. How are you, Kuva? You well?
Yeah, good here, actually. Loads of illnesses last week and then feeling all right now, actually.
Good.
So the Spurs coming back. As soon as we play Brentford, I'll feel terrible again, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And Henry Wright, welcome back to the show. How are you, mate? You good? Just say yes, and we'll get into the other stuff later.
Yeah. Outside of football world, I'm pretty good. I can't really complain, but there's a lot to talk about.
Good. There is. Look, guys, World Cup done. We've moved on. World Cup is done. Done. We're now starting to see Tottenham news come through this morning, chaps. We've got lots to talk about today. We have got reports saying that Spurs are going to have a £35 million war chest. I chucked in the word war chest myself.
We could get another Emerson Royal for that.
And Emerson Royal has 7 million change. Reports about 35 million to spend. We've got people talking about, and when I say people, outlets like The Athletic, saying that talks are not going as positively as some might have felt a few months ago with Antonio Conte. We've got players coming back from the World Cup either needing weeks off because they've just been in the final. We've got players coming back injured. We've got a horrific run of games from mid-January onwards where we play Milan twice, City twice, Chelsea, Arsenal, Wolves, Leicester away. Guys, let me start with you, Henry, because you you look really upset. Let's start with the Conte contract talks, Henry. What are you hearing and where are we at with it all?
So about 20 minutes ago, I got sent something. I'll read it to you. I just said to you a minute ago off air, and it basically says Tottenham hierarchy are divided on the future of Antonio Conte, with some thinking a Mauricio Pochettino return would be a better fit to lead the club long term. And then afterwards, another outlet has said Mauricio Pochettino has his heart set on a Tottenham Hotspur return. He feels he has unfinished business with the club and has continued to rule out other potential moves. Right. Let's dissect that. If we go from Antonio Conte to Mauricio Pochettino, regardless of how shit you think the football is or how great you think Poch football is, Poch isn't coming back to the team that he had. He's not coming back to Ericsson, Mr. Dembele, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Walker, Rose, a Dele Alli that was actually useful. He's coming back to a team right now that has got Heung-min Son scoring 3 goals a season. Kulusevski isn't fully fit. Richarlison's out for 8 weeks. Bentancur's out for 4 to 6 weeks. Romero's going to be given time off because he's won the World Cup. We've got a 35-year-old goalkeeper. We've got a right back who's not even a professional footballer. And we think he's going to do a better job than Antonio Conte, regardless of how shit the football is. Look at Conte's footballing CV and look at Pochettino. Outside of PSG, what has Pochettino delivered? Nothing.
No,
if you want Antonio Conte or Pochettino to deliver, it comes down to the owners, the transfer window. But I will be absolutely fuming more than when we appointed Nuno Espirito Santo. And I love Pochettino, but why are we going backwards? We don't have a plan. We don't have an identity what we want to do in the window. How can we only have 30 odd, 40, 50 million to spend? We just earned 50 million quid off Tyson Fury's fight. That's not even football related. This club is an absolute disgrace. It really is.
That's your answer, though, isn't it? You just said, other than PSG, what has Pochettino won? Nothing. That's the perfect fit for us.
Exactly.
Don't have the pressure of having we don't have to keep hunting for trophies and spending excessive money.
We had the best 1 to 11, I would say, outside of probably Eden Hazard and Matic in the Premier League at the time. We didn't have the depth to go and win a title. We become second and third, and we really pushed. Levy didn't back Pochettino then with superstars. Do we really think bringing him in, we're going to roll out a red carpet? We're all going to be singing his magic, and we're all going to be, tugging the Corys in the corner because Poch is back.
I think it'd be mad to come back, mate.
Not only that, if he comes back himself, he's got zero shame. Because you don't go back to an ex-girlfriend, regardless of how good you might think she is in certain areas. You don't go back to an ex-girlfriend.
I might go back for a night.
Yeah, for a night. Fair enough.
Depends what those certain areas are, doesn't it? Yeah.
Hang on. Let me just check the wife's downstairs. Yeah. She.
Go manage a charity game. I've got no problem. But why? Like anyone can see. You look at Inter Milan's Conte, right? It was a well-oiled machine. Right now, we're running on a 1999 Fiesta that only goes in 2 gears.
I mean, look, let's let Henry get his blood pressure checked. I mean, Kuva, look, everything Henry said isn't wrong. Difficult for me to sit here and say this because I've been an advocate of I don't care if Conte's here or not. But what I am an advocate of is the owners have been absolute shambles. And again, this sort of scenario for me, we've talked about this a lot, Kuva, this was always inevitable with Conte as manager. If you hire a guy that needs top players immediately, that has not got any experience of building at a club like Spurs, what did we expect? Again, this is hypothetical, Kuva, but if he does walk, can anyone truly say they're surprised at this outcome? Really?
I'm certainly not. I mean, predicting it. I think that the thing that's pulled the wool over a lot of people's eyes is the fact that it's both Paratici and Conte. I think, even me, I was looking at it and thought, I'm not going to enjoy the football, but at least we might shake up something. We might get Levy to change the way he's running the club and get behind these people because they're really sort of aggressively demanding what's needed. Perhaps that's going to be the big change. But I'm just not seeing that. I'm seeing the continuation of the same transfer policies, just getting the players in a little bit earlier in the summer. That was the only real difference, wasn't it? Otherwise, it's a bargain sort of signing like Bissouma. I do think he's a good signing.
Yeah.
You got your aging Perisic. He's not the player he was, but he's still, he's okay.
Look at Pochettino, right? How many big domestic games did Pochettino win when it really mattered? Or how many big errors did he make? Heung-min Son in a semi-final.
Yep.
Didn't play Lucas Moura in the Champions League final.
Yeah.
We lost to Colchester United on penalties. That was with a very, very good team.
So Toby Alderweireld was dropped for the North London derby, so 1/4 could play centre half, and I think they scored 4.
Disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. But
Devil's
people need to
advocate.
realise we are in a crisis.
Devil's advocate, Henry. Devil's advocate. I'm just going to sit on the fence here. Couldn't we level some of that at Conte? Losing to Moura, getting knocked out the cup to Borough, lost to Forest speed team.
Yeah, you can. But the team Pochettino had and the team Conte had is completely different.
Sure, but shouldn't Conte's team? Listen, I'm literally just trying to make a debate about it, right?
I think you've got to really question him just for the fact he plays Emerson Royal so often.
There's a lot of things you can question, right? You can question he's very late to make substitutions to affect the game. We don't have a style outside of pressing, outside of playing a back three. Sorry, we go to a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. Occasionally, we go to a 4-2-4, but the style of football is absolutely dross, and it's not going to change. My point is, right, Pochettino got us playing fantastic football, right? We were, they called it champagne football, but we didn't back him when he had the best team we've ever probably had in the Premier League. Mm. Do we really think we're going to back him looking at some of the dross we've got now?
But isn't the point, Henry? For me, I think if you bring back Poch, I think it works for both. And here's why I think it works for both. I think it works for Levy and co because he's not that manager that will demand what Jose and Conte demand. And I think they've realised now that they've made that mistake. And I think it works for Poch because I'm going to throw this out there. Where's Pochettino getting a better job than Tottenham Hotspur moving forward?
Yeah, but it's disgraceful because...
I agree. I'm just looking at it.
There isn't another job out there. And
right.
I think... What do we all want as fans more than anything? Silverware.
Silverware long term. At this moment in time, I just want to see a plan. If I'm honest, I want a plan.
Look at Newcastle. Their owners come in, they said, we want to win the Premier League. We want to win the Premier League.
Well,
Have
for
you
me,
ever
I'm
seen
not,
Levy say that?
you know, I'm not quite the same in that view because first and foremost, I've got to be entertained. I don't watch the game because I want the result. I want to enjoy that. I want to enjoy those moments of magic on the pitch. It's if I'm watching crap football, I'm not happy.
Cooper, do you think we're playing crap football because we don't have the players to fit the style of football he wants? Like, as you said, Emerson Royal.
Look at our forward line. You can't. Surely you can get something out of that.
I just think Cooper, Henry, look, when you look at it, I get that to a degree. I think there's two ways of looking at the way Conte plays football. First and foremost is he will adamantly play wing backs no matter if we've got the personnel to play it. And I think that's a flaw in a manager immediately, because what he's done there is not looked at the squad. He's looked at what he's done best in the past. Now, that's great. And there'll be two sides to this. Fans will say, why should he change? He's the one that's won. That's fine. But to play a back five, you've got to have two wing backs that are competent, and you've got to have three centre backs that are comfortable on the ball. So for me, in the last year and a half that he's been, year and 2 months that he's been here, and the transfer windows, we've talked about this a lot, Kuva. For me, if that's the case, then your signings moving forward aren't midfielders and forwards. Your signings are centre backs and wing backs, and we didn't do that, right? So for me, if you are going to continue to play wing backs when you haven't got good wing backs and you haven't got good centre backs, and you're going to continue with a philosophy that relies on the defence having a lot of the ball, you are going to be exposed. For me, we've got good midfielders, not great. We've got good midfielders that seem good in possession at Brighton with Basuma. Bentancur's good in possession. Højbjerg for Denmark does it. You've then got Kulusevski, Kane, Son. That, for me, that six going forward are capable of playing better football than what he produces. Now, I'm not excusing Levy and that for what they're doing, but for me, I don't buy this. We can't play good football because the defence is crap, because we don't play good football from the midfield onwards. That, for me, is a Conte way of playing. Just my opinion.
Yeah, there's an element of truth in there. You look at teams below us in the table; they play better football than us.
Right.
However,
there's also the old adage, though, isn't there? If you're going to build a successful team, you build from the back, and we haven't done that either. It's
you look at every Premier League team now; they all basically play out from the back. The top teams, we can't do that because we don't have any centre back that's okay on the ball, and I'm including Lenglet and Romero. Romero at times can look really good on the ball. Other times he looks like.
So let me ask you then, Henry. Let me ask you then. This is the thing. And just quickly, Wolves F1, big up. Thank you so much for the super chat. Please smash the like button, people. There's 85 of you in here, 22 likes. Smash the like button. Go and subscribe to Henry Wright TV. Subscribe to the Free Spurs Boys for Kuv and the Gang, not the gangs I got rightly put in my place last week by Kuv for saying that. The thing for me, Henry, is this. And look, Conte's not the first manager that will suffer this, and he won't be the last. But for me, he's had 9 players bought in. If I'm Conte and I'm as powerful as everyone says I am, and I can walk and go to any club I want, I'm turning around after those 2 windows and going, I wanted centre backs. I wanted wing backs. Why haven't we bought them? I don't need another forward. I don't need more midfielders. Why have we not got this? Right? But instead, he came out and said, like Jose did, like Poch did, he came out and went, I'm happy with the direction we're going in. Okay, you're happy with the direction you're going in, but then the excuse all the fans will give for not playing good football is, well, we didn't buy defenders. Why wasn't...
That's because Levy, no matter who we get as a manager, no one's allowed to speak up.
But then you're hearing, Henry, that the reason we didn't get the centre-backs is because he only wanted 2, and they weren't gettable that summer.
Yeah, but do you not think that's media manipulated to take the attention away from the board and put it on Conte?
Listen, absolutely. Anything at this football club is possible, guys, isn't it?
My question to everyone is, under Levy, how many world-class players have we brought in?
Oh, we did this the other day.
You could argue maybe 1, Rafael van der Vaart.
Yeah.
At the time, coming in as a world-class player. Heung-min Son wasn't world-class when he came in. Harry Kane wasn't world-class, right? Then you look at teams around us. Arsenal were in the Europa League and brought for Aubameyang. You know, Lacazette at the time was a great player. They brought for Mesut Ozil, exactly. Yeah. Chelsea are in dire straits at the moment, in 7th or 8th or 9th, and they've just bought Nkunku.
Yeah.
We're in the Champions League, right? We're buying Dross. West Ham are in the Conference League and buying players like Paqueta. What are we doing? And all we hear about is this Spurs DNA. What is that? Bottle trophies. Have you ever won anything in 15 years?
This is why I've said all along, Kuba, you know, I've said it, Henry said it for over a year on the show. That's just why when I say to people I don't care if Conte's here, they get me wrong. It's not that I dislike Antonio Conte as a manager. I just know he is a manager. You have to give what he wants, right?
Yep.
And if he's not going to get that at Spurs, I've got no interest in seeing him having this kind of drama with Levy for years and years and years. I would rather we go and listen, the Poch thing we'll put aside for 1 minute. You might as well, if you're not going to back any manager, you might as well get a manager in who we're not expecting miracles from, who we're not expecting to win us things, and say, this is who we are as a club under these owners. And at least then we can stop this hoo-ha every window of, is he going to back Conte or Conte walks? Because he's been here for a year and a bit. And already, most of his tenure has been about, will he stay or will he go? That is, Henry, to put it in terms of what we do for work, that is like when we offer a candidate a job, right? And they don't come back to you in a week accepting, you think, hang on, something's not right here, right? Red flags for me.
If Conte was to walk, right?
Yeah.
And Pochettino, we didn't get him. Why are we not looking at Luis Enrique? That's my question. If we want the fantasy football and someone that's won big trophies, including managing the best front three we probably will see in football for many, many years, Messi, Suarez and Neymar, right? Playing fantastic football. Why are we not looking at Luis Enrique? Why are we looking at Pochettino? Oh, I know why. Because most of our fans are fucking snowflakes and they'll be lubing themselves up, clapping head over heels when Pochettino returns.
Well, Posh is prepared to work under a peanuts budget anyway. He made his name at Espanyol when they had to sell their team every single season. And he was keeping them afloat.
He had Van Dijk,
no resources. He did well for us, but he can only go so far doing that.
But then how do we take that next step?
We can't do it now. No, we can't do it with Pochettino now at this point anyway. We would have to have a fantastic academy. We'd have to have proper players.
And when you look at our academy, right, besides Harry Kane, right, and Ledley King, who have we produced in the last 20 years?
Nobody.
Ledley King, Sol Campbell, and Harry Kane.
Yeah. Even there's some that have like gone on done okay elsewhere, but there's nothing.
You look at teams like Arsenal and Chelsea and what's coming out their academy. Smith Rowe, Saka, Chelsea, Declan Rice, Mason Mount, Tomori, flipping Reece James, Man City, Phil Foden. You know, who have we actually had?
Chelsea, even the ones that don't get in the team, they sell them on for loads of money because they're associated with that. I've always thought this about Levy. He's been trying to copy what Chelsea does, but on a budget. Buying those cheap nobody players, train them up, sell them on a profit. When Chelsea do it, it's a player that's at that high level higher than we do it at. They'll buy in. Even De Bruyne turned out to be a mistake in the long run for them because of how he develops. But then if they buy him in, sell him on, make their money, go on. Levy's probably licking his lips looking at that way of doing things. Thinks he can replicate it, and it doesn't work with us. We haven't got the prestige. We can't grab in those.
So basically, going forward, right? We should look forward to a couple of top 6 wins, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because I tell you now, on the 15th of January, we are going to get a serious wake-up call. A serious wake-up call. When them lot come to Tottenham, boy.
But Henry, do you know what? The thing is, I said this, the problem was the 2 players that we got in January last year. Listen, it doesn't matter how you get a signing. For me, we got them luckily. We got them. Juventus didn't want them. They were going cheap. We got them, and they did really well. They've done really well for us, right? And I think that kind of pulled the wool over people's eyes, where they were thinking he's going to be backed, right? But it wasn't actually backed. These were cheap deals, right? Now, the thing for me is the summer. The summer for me, everyone talked this big game. We're going to do this. We're going to go big. We're going to back him. We didn't. And yet fans are still surprised that we're not going to do it again in January. They'll be surprised when we don't do it for a manager next summer. I don't understand why we're still surprised, but I don't know what did people think the name Conte was going to change the name Levy and his antics. So we've said it for ages. For me, the two don't. Conte does not match this football club. Yes, he's a winner. He's a proven winner at clubs that back him, at clubs that don't need to be rebuilt. He's not a proven winner at a club like Tottenham, where you don't get the backing and where football is the secondary business behind making money from the stadium, which they built for those purposes.
So where do we go from here then? If we haven't got a goal, if we haven't got a manager that can do anything, and we're bringing back our ex-girlfriend, right, who's been used and abused by PSG, what? How do the owners come out and defend this? How do the owners? Because I'm not watching Levy read some bullshit script that's been written by some flipping third-party media company that he's got to read off of a script. How does he come out and go, this is the right decision? We've gone from the serial winners, Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte.
Yeah.
Two of the best managers outside of, the obvious Ancelotti, Guardiola, Klopp, Emery. Outside of the best managers in there.
The best managers, why?
Because they win stuff.
Yeah, but why and how? They're not the best managers for Spurs. This is the problem.
So, yeah, but then we've got to identify ourselves. Are we just going to accept mediocrity and have a couple of top 6 wins every single Premier League season, right? Because let's be honest, I'm going to say it right now. We will not beat Arsenal in the North London derby. And when we do either draw or take a defeat, that is going to be a massive wake-up call to our fan base. Because they are in... I don't care if they lost to Juventus C, D, E, F, G, H team the other day, right? They will go out because they've got ambition. They will go out and buy a replacement for Jesus for the 4 months, right? And this is the difference. In the last 10 years at Tottenham, right, we've got our Champions League football. We've had a good couple of cup runs. We've had a good couple of league runs. But the difference is we have a mentality issue. We can't get over the line. Arsenal have been absolutely diabolically shit and still won 3 FA Cups in the last decade. Now their owners have gone, do you know what? We've got good players coming out of the academy here. We've got a good spine. We've got a good, a fairly good goalkeeper. They've got Saliba, who they could build their defence around. Thomas Partey, who's done it at Atletico, and he's gone, do you know what? Let's chuck a few quid here and let's see what can happen. Meanwhile, we care more about Lady fucking Gaga or Guns N' Roses or the NFL, or we care more about, Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua fights. We haven't got an idea what the hell we're doing. And, you got, as I said to you earlier, Heung-min Son hasn't scored. He scored 3 Premier League goals all season. Richarlison's going to miss both the Man City games and the North London derby. Hugo Lloris is 35 and probably doesn't give a monkeys about Tottenham anymore. Romero's going to be given a couple of weeks off. That Brentford game, if we lose that, it's going to be a slippery slope.
But this is just it, Henry. You said we don't know where we're going. We do. You just said it. Lady Gaga. It's all the off-field stuff.
Do you want to know another harsh reality now? And this is going to upset a lot of Tottenham fans. All we are now is a glorified West Ham. We have the good European Cup run. They have a good European Cup run. We both win absolutely fuck all. We're both on our risk of selling our best player, Declan Rice and Harry Kane, right? All we are now is a glorified West Ham. We earn so much money, it is unreal, and we're doing nothing with it.
But look, Henry, this is why, I've said this since the day one when Conte came in, right? I said, let's see how it goes with Conte. Top manager. He's won loads of stuff. Top manager. But I also said at the time, doesn't mean anything whilst working for Levy unless Levy changes. Yeah. Now, there was a lot of the fan base that were convinced Levy would change his spots. Yeah. They even saw that he didn't do that in the summer and still are convinced that he will change his spots. There were fans.
I don't think it's so much convinced. I think it's desperate. It's
Okay.
hope, isn't it? It's
I don't think it is, Coover. I see a lot of fans that genuinely think we are going to back this manager. We genuinely see it. Let's be fair. You've got a manager that needed a right wing back and a centre half, and the two options given to him, for whatever reason, I don't know what conversations he had, was Jed Spence and Clement Longley, who's okay, right? That was the options given to him. At that stage, I would have respected it so much more if Conte had turned around and gone, nah, see ya. And now we're in a position where 10 days before the transfer window opens, we don't know if the manager's going to be at this club. That has a knock-on effect to any transfer targets we've got going, hang on, why am I signing for you? Why am I signing for you? You don't know if you're here. So you've got the owners who haven't managed to get the contract signed. The manager who hasn't decided if he wants to be here or not. Players that we're going to be talking to going, why am I joining? That doesn't look like a happy ship. That start the circle all over again. For me, I said it, Coover, I don't know how many times I can say this. Henry, I said to you the other day as well at work. At the end of the day, for me, the whole thing needs to be ripped out. A new owner, a new director of football, and a new manager. Same page, start a process.
How many managers have we had under Levy?
About 400.
We must have had, right, 14, 15 managers in 22 years. And bearing in mind, Pochettino was there 5 years. Can anyone put in the chat? I don't know the exact number, but how many managers have we had under Levy?
Number 14 seems to ring true.
Right, so let's get this straight, right? We've had 15 or 14 managers. One of them was there for nearly a quarter of the time Levy's been there, and we've won a League Cup.
Yeah, for sure. But again, it boils down to this: if the manager, the owner, and the director of football are all not on the same page, nothing is going to work. And this is what I keep saying about the tripod. And Cooper's probably bored of me hearing it. If you have a tripod, all three legs have to take the same amount of weight. Yeah, be pulling in the same direction. I know that makes no sense for a tripod. They all have to be doing the same job with the same goal, which is keeping whatever is at the top of the tripod afloat, right? We've got a chairman who 50% of this fan base love and defend. The other 50% can't stand him or want him out. We've got a director of football that is under indictment for something like 42 dodgy deals and this, that, the other. We've got a manager that half the fan base think is amazing because his name is Conte. The other half hate his football, etc., etc. There's no young players coming through at the club. The top goal scorer and our best player for the last 8 years, Harry Kane, hasn't signed a new contract yet. We don't know if he's going to sign. Hong-Min's son looks like he's fallen off a cliff, right? You've got injuries all over.
Charlatan's injured.
You've got centre-halves that have been here for 5, 6, 7 years in Davis, Dyer, Sanchez. Listen, that might be people saying Savva's so negative, but that's the reality of where we are right now. Now, if I'm Conte, I'm looking at this going, this is my reputation. This is the longer he stays, because like we've said, Coover, Henry, if he signs a contract, right, in the next 2-3 weeks, I will then have absolutely no sympathy, empathy for him at all. Once he signs that contract, whatever player he is given, he has signed the contract knowing how this club operates, right? So from then on, if he signs the contract and people go, oh, he's not being backed and Daniel Levy, no. You signed that new contract, mate. You knew what you were in for. You had the talks with them. You got your guarantees. This is now on him. So for me, if I was him, I would walk, show Levy and Enoch for who they are, and then most of this fan base that hasn't seen it for the last 15 years can turn around and go, right, actually, maybe it is the owners. I think the best interest of
right?
if Conte leaves. I know that sounds bad.
If he does expose the board, it's a win-win situation.
Agreed.
Because Conte will get out of Tottenham, and as you said, half the fan base that think he's the best thing since sliced bread, when you basically cheer on not winning trophies. if he exposed the board for what he is, it's gonna the whole of our fan base would have to unite. I look at our football club at times, right? We can't even protest correctly. Man United stormed Old Trafford, and I'm not saying this is the right thing to do. I don't think breaking into a stadium is correct. However, they stormed the train, they stormed the ground. Arsenal had over 1,000 people at their protest. We had a wannabe Ed Sheeran singing a guitar about ENIC out. The first one, we had about 30 people there. We can't do anything correctly. We're absolute shambles.
What happens when the likes of Chelsea, something goes wrong with the manager? Doesn't matter, does it? Go out, get another one. Off they go again. Players fall out of grace or lose their form. Sell them on, bring some more in. Not a problem. When it happens to us, it's crisis time. Oh God, who can we have now? Who have we got to possibly replace this player? What manager can we have? Oh no, there's no plan, is there? Everybody else, you go at it with ambition. You go at it with desire to win things or desire to improve yourself, and you keep going at it. It's having a long-term plan. It's having the actual. It is desire. You've got to have the ambition to do things with the club. That has to come from the very top. That's why you see the other clubs doing it and we don't. We're not the only ones that don't do it. I mean, Villa have been underperforming for decades as well. Everton, there's others doing it, but people start using them as an excuse that's why we don't have to, because others fail. When we should be looking at it. Why aren't we doing what the other successful clubs are doing? And now we're looking at it with the bloody Gooners, who, despite us as a fan base, you ridicule them under Arteta. We all joked about it at times, but I think most of us have got a more realistic outlook. You could see what they're doing. There is a plan there. Buying in young, talented players, allowing them game time, going forward with it, strengthening every season. And you see the benefits now. We don't have any of that sort of planning. It's spur of the moment. One thing changes for us and it's crisis time again.
But for me, we've been in perennial crisis for years. And the problem is, where this gets covered up for me, lads? It's the whole, well, you're fourth, aren't you? Oh, Conte got you fourth. And we're fourth now. The number 4 seems to be covering up for all the things at this club that aren't working. And at the end of the day, right, listen, this conversation could be completely null and void. In a week's time, he could have signed a contract, been guaranteed £100 million in the transfer window, bish, bash, bosh, away we go. But look, I think most of us have said this for ages, for months and months. I don't see him signing a new contract. For me, as I said, I don't care. But I live and die by my sword, right? And I will say this: if he signs, this whole conversation has to stop. If he signs, it's on him, right? Because he's an intelligent guy, and he would have witnessed how we've worked now over the space of 9 signings. He's had a year to see what's coming through in the youth team. He's had a year to see what's important. He's had a year to see that we can't manage to sell any of the deadwood. Why? Henry, let me ask this. If you were Conte, would you really sign? Take your Spurs hat off. Would you sign another 3-year contract with Tottenham Hotspur?
I don't think there's any manager in the world that would, unless you're not used to winning. I look at the way we operate as a football club. Which top manager? I'll tell you what we'll do. And this is what I put money on, right? There is only one manager, I think one manager that would touch this club who has won trophies. But I don't think he'd want to work with the owner, and that's Tommy Tuchel, right? He's won trophies at the biggest level. But it's the same thing. Jose, Conte, and Tuchel play the same style of football. So when they come out and say, we want the Spurs DNA, could someone actually tell me what the Spurs DNA is? Because even when we were nearly getting bankrupt.
I can, mate. Spurs DNA, it's that thing we used to have back in 1994.
1994. Love it.
It's true.
We used to win. We used to actually win trophies even when we were nearly relegated. We'd have a good cup run. Nowadays, be actually honest, you two. Do you actually really look forward to the games?
No. Right,
why is that?
That's a mixture for me. For me, that's a mixture of the owners and the manager when I don't look forward to the games. I don't look forward to the games because of the way Antonio Conte sets us up to play. Because whenever we're losing a game, all of a sudden we find a spark and start being able to play football and we look decent. But we start every game with 10 men behind the ball and go 1-0, 2-0 down. What's there to look forward to? What am I looking forward to? But that's the now problem. That's not the bigger picture problem for me. That's why, for me, I want them all to go. I don't rate Paratici as a director of football. I don't like Conte's style of football, and I hate the owners. For me, there's nothing.
Do you think it's rotten to the core?
For sure. For sure.
So I look at this window, right, and I think this is the biggest January window the Premier League has ever seen, because we've never faced the Premier League has never faced a Winter World Cup where players are going to come back. Some will be in really good form, some won't be. Some will be upset because of the World Cup, etc. Some players will be sitting at home, like Mohamed Salah, Haaland, Kulusevski, fit and ready to go. But the excuse is going to be now, but it was tough to sign players after a World Cup.
Of course.
But you watch Chelsea, Arsenal, United, City, Liverpool, Newcastle go out and buy players. Because me and Danny had a conversation, right? Big up to Danny. We were talking about, if we were to show ambition, what would it look like? And I was thinking, can you imagine James Maddison? Can you imagine Ivan Toney? Can you imagine Wilfried Zaha? We haven't even got to spend stupid money. Wilfried Zaha's got 6 months left in his contract. Would come in and slot straight in as an option.
But we don't have
that. We don't have scouts outside of the UK and Italy. That is where we're looking. The UK and Italy. Look at Man City. How are they able to go and pick up Julian Alvarez from River Plate? No one had an absolute clue who this kid was. He just scored 4 goals at a World Cup. Meanwhile, signing the next Kyle Walker in Jed Bench, can't even get a minute, has deleted everything off Tottenham off of his Instagram. That just tells me one thing. In January, he's going. So we're going to be stuck with Emerson Royal for the remainder of the Poxy season.
I'd just like to address this. Billy Horrocks said, you don't deserve trophies, Savva. I'd love to hear your analysis on this. Why don't I deserve trophies? I'd love to know why. Please share your thoughts with us all so we can all have fun reading. But again, Kuva, this goes down to that thing, doesn't it? Even when you look at other clubs, you look at Leicester, where are they picking that Fayez from? Who scouted him? How have they gone out and they've lost Fofana, right? And within a week, they've identified this guy's got talent. They brought him in, slotted straight into the team. Yeah, rocky start for the whole club, but now I've got something like 6. Wayne Holland, you're in the chat. Give me the stats. 6 in 7 clean sheets or something. And I think it looks a player. Now, I used that one example, but all these other clubs seem to find these players. We just seem to, I don't know. It just feels like we don't do that anymore.
Whenever we look at signing a forward, it's, are they going to play second fiddle to Harry Kane? That's the argument. We don't look at a squad game. We just look at 11 players and that's it. We did it under Pochettino.
It's that word plan again, isn't it? You've got to plan for when players aren't available or when they do move on, which is inevitable. There is a day when Harry Kane doesn't play for Spurs anymore, whether it's through retirement, moving on to another club, or heaven forbid an injury, something like that. What's our current plan for when he goes? Is it Richarlison? Is that what he was bought for? Maybe. Is that a sort of valid plan for replacing the likes of Harry Kane with him?
Kuva, even look at Brighton, right? We could go and raid Brighton, get McAllister, Casado, and Trossard. All 3 of those players would take us to another level because we'd actually have energy in our midfield for once in McAllister. That guy was exceptional at the World Cup. Casado is a great player. And I like Leandro Trossard, even though the other day I did call him the Seaside Eden Hazard, but that's not the point. I'd bring him in. I think we this season we can't just keep relying on Son and Kane.
Henry, this is the problem. You've got fans that believe this. Let this sink in, right? If I was Conte, I would sign. I'm only 2 players away. This is the problem. Our fans believe we are 2 players away from being a successful club. There's no bigger picture thinking. Everyone thinks bring in a centre half and a right wing back, we're done, right? again, there's no plan. There's no bigger thinking about what's the process, what's the plan.
Especially since we're accepting that we are a club that wants to play the ball out from the back.
Right.
Hugo is no good at that. You need a goalkeeper. In my opinion, we need another 3 central defenders.
I agree.
Probably 4 wing backs. Since Spencer's going to get a kick, and the others aren't there. Perisic is about to retire anyway, so you've got to start looking at wanting to replace him too. Perhaps Perisic goes as more of a forward than a wing back.
Well, sorry.
Go on.
Sorry, I can't, Billy. Right, I will stop blocking you if you keep saying silly things. No one's hounding Conte out. I'm sitting here saying if I was Antonio Conte, for my own reputation as a winner, why am I signing a new contract at Tottenham Hotspur when we've got the owners we've got? But I don't understand how you can't. I'll tell you what, Billy, come on and talk to me, because you have these little digs all the time in the chat without actually listening to what I'm saying. Yeah, no one's hounding.
Better still, does he think we're going to win something under Conte?
People do. People really do.
We heard that under Mourinho. What happens? It's like, if you can't win stuff under Mourinho, you're not winning stuff.
The thing is, look, what I would say is, as I said before, do I like Conte's football? No, I don't. Do I think it leaves us rigid? Like we talked about with Sean the other day. I truly believe it does, Kuva. So when fans are talking about Alexis McAllister coming in, right? When fans are talking about James Maddison coming in, all right, cool. Where do these players play in his formation? His formation, you've got your front 3. He plays 2 central midfielders. Where are these players playing? We're not flexible. We're a very rigid team without very good players at the back. And
you know my thoughts on it all anyway. As far as I'm concerned, we will win nothing while Enoch is still here. So it's all about, for me, it's just about enjoying the football we're watching. I'm resigned to us being mediocre. That's the way it is. Maybe we get in another little golden period like a Pochettino. I don't think it's going to work for him at the moment. I think he'll have to say exactly the same trouble Conte's got. So we're just going to have to hope. We'll have to just hope for that one little period where we got a few signings right and a good manager that managed to get the best out of mediocre players. That's it.
See, again, right, sorry. Billy, please come on. Because, again, right, let me break this down. I don't understand how little fans like you with a cockerel in your banner don't understand Tottenham Hotspur Football Club or Antonio Conte at all. Yes, we could have won something under Jose and he got sacked, for sure. Another reason to hate the owners. But when you say Conte is a different level to Jose, based on what? On
who has the better footballing CV?
Right, exactly. He's not. And this whole let Conte build, it took Arteta 4 years and Klopp 4 years. First of all, let's break this down. Conte has never been at a club where he's had to build for 4 years. This fallacy that he can do it now at Spurs. We've got no proof. We've got no proof that Jose couldn't do it. Poch couldn't do it. Redknapp couldn't do it. Yol couldn't do it. Right? But now we think Conte's the man to do it. It took Klopp 4 years is a complete, utter lie. In his first season, he was reaching finals. In his second season, he was in a European final. So it took Klopp 4 years. Klopp was also being backed, Billy. I don't understand how people don't get this. You can put a number of years on it.
Yeah, Arteta as well, mate. Like I just said, what has been their plan over the last few seasons? By young, very talented players,
right?
Give them a chance to play and develop while they're playing the football. It's a plan. We do not do that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Again, Philo's another one. This is the point. You can't judge Conte until he's been given the tools. Same as any Spurs manager. The same. Philo, what I'd love to know is, were you one that backed Jose or not? Because what I remember is when Jose wasn't given the tools, everyone was sitting there saying he was backed with players like Vinicius, Joe Rodon, Bergwijn, Doherty. Yeah. Everyone was telling me he was backed. But now it's Conte. He needs his tools. Don't you think it's every manager that needs their own tools?
And yet on the other side of it, I've also heard some fans this season, one in particular stuck in my mind. Can't remember who said it, but I remember the comment, this summer was the greatest transfer window we've had in our lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ.
It's disgraceful.
I remember a transfer window when Hugo Lloris came in, Moussa Dembele and Jan Vertonghen. Same transfer window. But this is better, apparently.
Do you remember I think when I look at the actual transfers in general, I actually think we go through stages where we could sign 2 or 3 good players, like Eriksen, Dembele, Lloris, and then we'll have 3 or 4 shit windows in a row.
Yeah.
But those 2 or 3 players we originally signed will carry us, like Son, Alderweireld or Toby. I just think we've got no plan, we've got no identity, we don't have an ethos, we don't even have a style of play at times. And yeah, you can put some of it on Conte as much as you want, but at the same time, if we really want Conte's system to work, we've got to buy the players for it. If we want Pochettino's system to work, we've got to buy the players for it. These players, I would honestly, if I'm being really critical, I would keep 6/7 players of this team. Kane, Son, Bentancur, Højbjerg, Romero,
Kulusevski.
Kulu. You could argue Bissouma, but I'd say Bissouma, so I'd keep 7 players. Richarlison, we don't know yet because he's barely even had a scratch in a shirt. He's been injured more games than he's played. Right? Our defence.
But Henry, the thing is, I agree with you, but we can say this for any man. Conte, I know the name Conte for me is just bringing to the fore problems that have been here for 2 decades, Kuva, right?
Yeah.
This was the same problem that all the other managers had, but now fans are all of a sudden, oh my God, if you back Conte, how do we know? If we had backed Jose, who's a serial winner, who was 5 days away from a cup final, right? I just want to quickly go to this. So look, Klopp in his first year got to 2 finals, right? Klopp also had players in the team like Moreno, Saka, Kolo Touré, Lovren, Emre Chat, right? So, and this, right? I don't understand. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. Jose Mourinho is one of the most decorated managers of, I would say, our time, but of all time, right? And yet we hounded him out this football club. But yet with Conte, we're now acknowledging it's the owners. Where were all these fans when Jose was wanting better players? Where were all these fans?
We had Joe Rodon in a back line.
Right. When Jose didn't have Romero, he didn't have Bentancur, he didn't have Bissouma, he didn't have Kulusevski or Perisic, right? So all of this, go
further back as well.
Yeah.
Harry Redknapp. Remember when we signed Louis Saha and Ryan Nelson? Do you remember who we were trying to get instead of them?
Yeah. Yeah, Tevez and Cahill, wasn't it?
What was that? Swanee said, I disagree with Henry on the players to keep. I think we need a whole back 5 bar Romero. That's what I said. I said we need an entire new back line bar Romero. If you're talking long term, you take Lloris and Perisic out straight away. Ryan Sessegnon is one of the worst left backs I think I've ever seen in a Spurs shirt. Our right backs are pretty much useless as well. You keep 3 of the 4 midfielders you've got, Bissouma, Bentancur, and Højbjerg, and then you keep the front 3. That's it.
I think even the even bigger picture for me is when we're talking about getting players for the manager in, how many people still think that with a director of football, it's the manager that decides who the player's going to be that they're going for? Because I don't believe that. I believe he's offered a little menu of players we could get, and he has to make do with what he can off that.
So why do people think it's going to be different?
Exactly.
Look, like Yiddy71 said, why does any fan think, and we said this, Kuva, before this, Henry, we said this in the summer window, all these fans going, what a window. What was he backed with? His best signing from that, in terms of the player that has played the most and contributed the most, was a 33-year-old on a free transfer, right? The striker that cost 50 to 60 million is playing out of position because of injuries, right? The right wing back clearly wasn't wanted. He doesn't play him. The centre half has been in and out of the team, right? Who else did he sign?
What, is in Conte?
Basuma hardly ever starts. I don't know. I don't know why people still can't see what the issue is, right? Just quickly, Brian. Do you know what, Brian? You know, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you about the protest. The problem with this is one thing, Brian. We wouldn't get enough fans for ENIC and Levy to care, because in my experience of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, there are so many more that support these owners than are actually against them. And that's the problem. So even if you got 5,000 people to one of these protests, you're going to have another 55,000 at the game on the day going, look at them over there.
Yep. It's the same problem with the season tickets. If you give your season up, someone will take it over straight away.
Right. But
on the other hand, what happened at that Man United game when they beat us 3-0 when we saw the end of Nuno? The fans did pipe up. It can be done. You can.
But Kova, the whole fan base was in unison against Nuno. The problem is the whole fan base needs to be in unison against ENIC.
Yeah.
And there are so many that listen, you know, I hate them.
Comes back to what you were saying earlier, which I agree with. Conte going is going to galvanise a lot of people against ENIC, because where are we going after Conte? Lots of people ask that same question, and they'll be angry if Conte goes. That's a good time to do it.
If he goes, it's just.
Yeah, but a lot of people will be.
Sure,
a lot of people will be.
Sure, but it's as I expected. It's completely as I expected would happen. That
every manager we ever get will be thrown on.
Do you still think we'll finish top four?
I don't.
At the moment, ask me at the end of the January window. Because at the moment, I still think we've got the firepower to get us top four. Right?
Oh yeah, actually, we could get fourth just because United, Chelsea, Liverpool are a bit out of sorts. Out of those three, I could see Liverpool putting a run together that overtakes us, though.
Let's see after that 10-game run where we play Milan twice, City twice, Chelsea, Leicester away, Wolves away, Chelsea, Arsenal. Let's see where we are at the end of Jan.
Sean's right, 158. If I'm thinking of moving to Levy out, surely many others might. All hinges on Jan. This January window is like nothing we've ever seen before. It's going to be. It's absolutely critical for the remainder of our season that we go and buy, a wing back, a right wing back, for instance, a couple of centre backs. We need some creativity in the middle of the park, and we need another winger. We didn't buy it. All we've done is buy players to replace. Like Kulusevski was a long-term replacement for Bergwijn. We haven't gone and added another winger on top. You look at Man City and United; they've got options everywhere. If Kane gets injured, who creates for us and scores most of the goals? We don't have a creative player. We haven't had a creative player since Eriksen left. We're still fighting the same battles 2 seasons later. Any top club would go out and go, right, okay, let's sort it out. Look at Chelsea, for instance. They're already looking at bringing in Guardiola and Nkunku. Guardiola is absolutely ridiculous.
But this is the problem. But what I've experienced, just quickly before I come to that, thank you so much for the super chat as well, Henry. I'll put the link up at the end for your show you're going to do after this. Sorry, I've got to address this. This cracks me up on so many levels. First of all, what given right do you believe Spurs are a better club than Roma? Right. Second of all, for a washed-up manager, when he left us, he'd got us to a final. Which I remember so far, every competition Conte's been in, he's been knocked out to lesser opposition, right? And didn't Jose go and win a European trophy last year with Roma, or did I make that up? No, I didn't make that up. He did indeed go and win a European competition.
And just not to belittle what the competition he did win with Roma either. That's their first European win of any kind, isn't it?
Yeah. And the competition that we got knocked out of.
The fans went wild about it. It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. But as always, this is what we do. We go, the Conference League. We've won one League Cup in 22 years. So Spurs to win the Conference League would have been our biggest achievement since 1991, winning the FA Cup.
And our fans belittled the trophy and said, I don't want to play against Wi-Fi passwords.
But Henry, to back onto your point, but what you get is this. When I say there's not enough fans that hate ENIC and want to change over sides and do all this, so many fans when I've spoken to about, look at Chelsea, signing Nkunku already, probably going to sign Vardy or at least going to bid 80 million for him. Spurs fans find a way to belittle that. We find a reason as to why that is not a good move. Yeah? They're just chucking money at it. Yeah. Yeah. What we should be doing. Chuck money at it. All right, that signing doesn't work. All right, cool. We get the next one in. Chelsea will buy players. They won't all work, right? Werner, not a massive success. Had him 2 years. See you later. Right?
But it's the ambition. It's the ambition to go and do that.
Of course it is.
Even if Nkunku doesn't work, right? They'll go and get rid of him 2 years later. Because Ted Bowley is showing one thing that our managers don't show. Ambition.
They don't waver from that plan, do they? If part of it goes wrong, you just double down and keep going forward. We don't do that. We have a little crisis issue and, oh, God, can't do that again. You've got to change the manager, change your style of play, whatever. Anything, the cheapest option to try and fix something. That will always be it with us. We're under this management, under this ownership, I should say.
Do you know how tight we are as a club? We're so tight, Coover, that there's 177 people in here and only 51 likes. That's how tight we are as a club and families. But look, my issue is this, and I'll say this to anyone's face, I will. Loads of people have season tickets, then complain about the owners, right? Loads of people complain about the owners and still go every week, right? For me, this is why we could go and protest. We could all go, 10,000 of us could go and protest at the next game. Fine, we'll go and do it. Let me ask you both a question. Yes or no answer. In that very same week that Spurs protest and we have 10,000 protesters, will all 60-odd thousand seats be filled for the games?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Of course it will. The stadium will be packed every single game, Coover.
Of course, yeah, I know. Well, no, that's not actually true because the football's usually so bad that people don't want to turn up at that point.
But the tickets are sold out, is the point.
Do you think the North London derby could be the turning point? For instance, if we don't sign players for the first kind of 14, 15 days, we lost that North London derby by quite a big margin. Say we lost 3-0, for instance. Do you think that could be the turning point for the back end of the window?
What happened when we play at the Emirates? It's glossed over. It's like, oh, we never win there, so it's okay. We lost.
It's a free hit.
What happens if we lose at home? People would go wild.
I genuinely worry about us in Big Six games because okay, we've drawn away to Chelsea. We've lost to Arsenal. For instance, we lost to Liverpool, didn't we? 2-1, was it 2-1?
2-1, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got Man City twice coming up, right? We've got Chelsea to play at home. We've got Arsenal to play at home. We've got Man United to play at home. We've lost to Man United away as well. In Big Six games is where you really see the manager's effect on the actual team. And so far, we're not doing great in Big Six games. Like this season, who have we actually beat who's a good team?
Brighton. Brighton is the best team we've beaten this year.
When you think about that, that's absolutely disgraceful.
But again, this is why, as I said, I don't care if Conte goes. I don't care. Like, I literally, I'm at the point with this football club, Henry, where this is Groundhog Day, year in, year out. There's never a plan. There's never a process. Everyone said now Conte's here. He's going to get rid of all the bad stuff. He's going to bring in top players. We're going to have a plan moving forward. I'm not seeing any of that. I don't see any of it. I didn't see any of it under Poch. We had a good team, but no plan. We had no young players coming through. We had no no plan as to where we went forward. We had no transfer plan. Then he left under Jose. It was, again, we keep doing this thing, Henry, where in these windows we buy 7 or 8 players in a window and fans think that's backing a manager. It's not quantity we need. It's quality. As I've said, this next summer, if we turned around and went, right, we're buying 1 top centre-half, 1 top right wing-back, and maybe a couple of young players sprinkled in, cool. Then we do the same again the window after. But what did we do? What did we do in the summer just gone? Lots of players, and how many of them are first-team regulars? How many? Perisic, Longley starting to be, but he's on loan. This is what we do year in, year out.
Oh, bearing in mind we left to Newcastle as well. Big up to Kieran. So every team that we've actually played.
Oh God, like, Billy, I can't be any clearer about my stance, right? I said I don't care if Conte's here or not. I don't know how more open I can be about this. Anyone who streams with me and works with me like Henry does, they know my feelings. I don't like his football. I've made it really clear. My feelings don't mean anything if you back the man. But if you don't back the man, what's the point in him being here? He may as well go. There's
to be fair, Savva has said that all along. He just doesn't care.
Don't care.
If you want to make that comment, aim it at me, because I'm quite happy to say Conte out. I find this style of football just bullshit.
Conte out, eh?
Entertaining football all the way and win while doing it. Nothing else is good enough.
Look, he's not listening to a thing we're saying. Billy.
Hey, hang on. So you're fully 100% Conte out, Cuba?
Yeah, I couldn't give a shit. I just don't tolerate bullshit football. Never will.
Sal, are you Conte out?
When I see performances like we did against Nottingham Forest, when I see performances against against Nottingham Forest, when I see performances like Bournemouth when we go 2-0 down, when I see performances like some of our Champions League games, yeah, I am. But more than anything at that time, it's frustration. The overriding factor.
What about the performances when we've beaten Arsenal 3-0, we've beaten Man City 3-2,
When was that?
That's still under Conte last season.
It's now this season, mate. I've watched this year. I've watched him get outplayed by Newcastle, Arsenal. I've seen him get beaten by a Liverpool team that everyone was saying were finished and dead. I've seen us get beaten by played off the park by a Chelsea side that, again, everyone's telling me are finished and are dead. Man United, who aren't the greatest team, played us off the park. For me, again, he doesn't adapt and change. He doesn't move with the games. It's the same setup no matter who we play, and I don't think he's got a plan. But as I've said, Henry, I'm cool with him staying, but back him. But I know he's not going to be backed, so I just don't care. I also don't go, guys. I don't go by he's Antonio Conte, he's a winner. Yeah, he's not a winner at Tottenham. None of these managers have won at a club like Tottenham before. Do you know what I mean? It's a huge difference to go to Inter Milan and win a trophy where you're one of the biggest 2 clubs in the country versus going to Tottenham where you're up against Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea.
Do you think he could return back to Italy then?
I think it's the only place he can go.
So Billy Horrocks keeps going on about it, back in Conte in some way. Explain why Emerson Royal still plays. Just justify that.
Do you think there's a clause in his contract to say that he's got to play a minimum of games?
That would be a shit contract, wouldn't it?
Would that surprise you?
Yeah, on someone like him, yeah. Someone like Messi, no. Someone like Ronaldo, no. Emerson Royal? Jesus Christ. If we signed him and he's got guaranteed game time in his contract, fucking hell, might as well just give up now.
Listen. Yeah,
part of the brain's thinking, yeah, maybe he has, mate.
Right,
I can't explain it any other way. What a dreadful player.
Again, this is where I don't feel sorry. As I've said, I don't feel sorry for Conte because he hasn't even given Spence a chance, but sticks by Emerson Royal through thick and thin. Yeah, that's the thing. Billy, shall I just block this bloke? Right, Billy, he was managing Juventus, who were the best team in the league for 9 years. There's a huge difference between that and coming to Tottenham Hotspurs, who don't win anything.
Yeah.
Right, there's a huge difference, Billy.
And as for his other options, I didn't want Conte in the first place. I wanted Eddie Howe or I wanted Graham Potter, someone like that. I'll just
even if we have got these managers and we're playing great football, what's the end term goal? They don't get back.
We're not winning anything under Enoch. They'll just give up on that.
That's the thing, Henry. I think that's the thing that Kuva and I have been saying is if we have not got the end goal to win things and to back managers, I'd at least like to see someone come in that attempts to play football and makes me want to watch the games. But at the moment, I've got neither. I've got a manager that is playing a brand of football that I don't see any clubs across Europe playing to win things. And we see a manager not being backed at the same time. What's the point? What are we hoping to achieve? If Conte, as I said, I'll stand by this and everyone in my chat can see it. If Conte signs this contract, it's on him.
Yeah.
If Conte signs it can't. But Henry, if he does, and then in the transfer windows we don't get exactly who he wants, fans can't be surprised. Fans
no, we can't. You're right. We can't. But there's no way in hell he's going to sign a contract with Levy.
I wouldn't.
I agree.
I would walk right now. Right, I would walk.
But then, what sort of message does that send to the football world, knowing that the biggest manager we've had with Jose Mourinho at the time, when you look at his CV, was sacked because we had a threat of winning a trophy and they didn't want to pay him the 30 or whatever the rumor was, right? Or a manager we've just had that's coming off the back of winning a league title in Italy, can't win anything. What sort of message does that send to the football world? Come to Tottenham, win nothing and get sacked.
We're a banter club. We have been for a long time.
Exactly. Exactly. This is the problem. But what sort of message does it send to the football world that Conte walks and then it wakes up everybody to Enoch and Levy? So for me, for the good of our football club, right? Let's put it this way. Enoch and Levy aren't going to change. They've never changed. Please, everyone, stop expecting them to change. For the good of this football club, we need Antonio Conte to turn around and go, nah, that's not me. That is not what I consider to be success. Then when he walks away, maybe as a fan base, we can unite and go, hang on. A manager that's a proven winner has walked away because he wasn't going to get what he wanted. Now we can all decide as fans, what do we want? All right, we want the owners out. Now let's have a protest with the majority. But if Conte stays, fans will be happy that Conte has stayed, believing that he's going to get what he wants from Enoch and Levy. So we just continue this perpetual cycle of hope over reality.
Get to a point where you've got to break it to fix it. It's I have a pretty unpopular opinion on this, but I am, and it does anger people. I would be prepared for us to have catastrophic failure, and I mean relegation, if it meant Enoch went.
I agree. Agreed. This is the point. Bigger picture.
Bigger picture. Yeah.
Bigger picture. Henry, how out of our fan base, right? This is the thing, right? Look, things like this. It's like, Savva, mate, don't be angry. I'm not angry, mate. I'm just passionate about Spurs, right? Don't be angry if I say this. I don't get the Conte hate. He's a proven winner, mate. Pyrex, you're not getting it. He's a proven winner, but not. I don't understand how people don't get this. Billy, you called everyone Tottenham wankers. Hence why I put you in a timeout, mate. So I'm going to time out you again. If you're going to come on and lie and be rude, you will get timed out. It's that simple, my friend. Henry, of this fan base, and I know I need to go in 5 minutes, but of this fan base, Henry, give me a percentage. How much percentage do you think truly believe that Conte, even if he signs a contract, will be backed with top-class players? Realistically, how many?
60% of our club will think that.
Right. And there you go. There's the 60% that won't go against Daniel Enoch and Levy because they're brainwashed. There you go.
85% of the club accept mediocrity. 95% of the club don't do anything about it. No, 98% of the club don't do anything about it. You know, I genuinely think when you look at what we're doing as a football club with no goal, Newcastle will overtake us 100%. Chelsea are already miles ahead. Arsenal are miles ahead. Liverpool will go ahead, back in the table. We will be 7th, 8th without recruitment.
Do you remember when Roy Keane made the comment about prawn sandwiches, United?
Yeah.
I just thought, that's us.
Mate, look, what I fail to understand is some of us have been saying this. I mean, I was on Twitter many moons ago. Joined a group on Twitter that is still my WhatsApp group now. It was called ENIC Out. Right, I'm going back a decade, I reckon. ENIC Out. We were saying these things then, but some fans have told us we're negative. You're wrong. Now all of a sudden that they've seen it with Conte and Jose, people are going, "Oh, hang on. Oh, it might be the owners." Well, no shit, Sherlock. Of course, it's the owners. The owners decide everything. Could the scouting have been better? Yes. Right? Could the directors of football probably done different things? Yes. Yeah. Could this been better, that been better? Yes. But ultimately, who does it all fall back into? ENIC and Levy, right? Levy Lewis.
Like you said, if you're a sales team, you're not doing any sales, who does it fall down to? The manager of the sales team who manages this football club, who runs this football club. What, I've said this many times. What is the aim of elite sport? To win trophies. No one remembers 7th or 8th place in a 100-meter sprint. No one remembers a runners-up. You look at tennis. Who lost the 2016 Wimbledon final? No one gives a shit. No one cares. We are the only team to go, oh, we were in the Champions League final. Man City were in the final. What did they do? They went and won the Premier League. That's the difference between elite mentality, going and winning things, and setting for mediocrity, which is what we've done for the last 22 years. Birmingham, Swansea, Portsmouth have won a more decorated trophy in the last 22 years than we have. They've won an FA Cup. Swansea have won a League Cup. Birmingham have won a League Cup. Wigan. Fucking Wigan. Right? That's the level we're competing in. They've won trophies. The same amount we have in the last 22 years.
Actually, Henry, to be fair, most fans, myself included, I'm sure you do as well, rate the FA Cup as a better trophy than the League Cup.
Yeah, of course.
In that case, Wigan are more successful than us.
Yeah. Wigan Athletic, right, with fucking, who was the Northern Irish striker? Will Griggs, right, has won a bigger trophy than Harry Kane.
But look, just quickly, Henry, I know you need to go, but Henry, this is it for me, right? ENIC and Levy, I've said this before, they always have a rabbit in the hat and they always have enough to keep the majority on side. And what I mean by that is this, and then I'll let you go. Right? It was sack Poch, right? A crowd favourite. But don't worry, Rabbit 1, we're going to bring in one of the most successful managers of all time. Yeah? He goes, they make a mistake with Nuno. Rabbit 2 was, oh God, we messed up with Nuno. Tell you what we're going to do. Rabbit 2, we're going to bring in a serial winner in Antonio Conte. Right? Rabbit 3 is now, all right, we didn't back Conte. Conte might walk away. I know. This fan base cry out for Poch to come. Not all of us, but this fan base, most of it, Kovi, you've seen it, love Poch to the point where when they bring him back, people won't, Henry, they will not want to go at leaving ENIC. They will be so in awe that he's brought Poch home that they've now got the majority on their side again. These owners are awful for football, but they are not stupid. And all the while they've got this, they will have the minority protesting. They will have the stadium full. They will have everybody going to NFL, concerts, boxing, skywalks, buying Spurs memorabilia, shirts. All the while they've got that, a protest for me don't mean anything. That's the problem. What it needs is this collective fan base to turn around and go, right, why did Conte walk? Not pushed. Why did he walk? He sent a clear message that he's not signing a contract because he's not being backed. Right, what do we do as fans? Guys, here's a protest. Let's see 10 to 15 to 20,000 of us there. Will it happen? I don't think it will, because I think enough people still come in going, but the stadium, but the training ground, yeah? But Paratici, but Conte. All while that's happening, you're not going to change these owners. And all the while that's happening, I don't care who's the manager of this football club, nothing is changing. Hence why people who can't quite understand when I say it doesn't matter if Conte's here or not. It just doesn't matter.
It's the same old.
Same old. But look, I know you need to go, Kuva. I need to go as well. But guys, listen, thank you very much. Please, I'm going to put something in the chat. Henry's about to do a show. Let me just check that's the right one. Henry's about to do a show. I'll put the link in the chat. Please go and join him. Kuva, be a lad. Can you stay on in the background for me? I want to chat to you about something. And Henry, good luck with the show. Thanks for coming on.
No worries, mate.
And guys, Spurs will be Spurs. Been saying this for 15, 20 years. Still waiting. I hope we're not waiting for another 15, 20. And take care. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, Emery, as well.
No worries, mate.